Sometimes I just have to push the button. You have no idea how long I sit here and try and get up the nerve. I am Wendy, and this is my series, Love, Loss, and Lipstick. I believe this is part 5. I share these on my YouTube channel because Facebook will delete it. So I'm trying to figure out when I do these live, it's one format with my camera, and then it's a different format when it's on YouTube. So if I'm full screen on Facebook, I'm little on YouTube, but if I turn my phone so that I'm full screen on YouTube, then I'm gonna be little on Facebook. I don't even know if it really matters to anybody, but I'm still trying to figure all this stuff out. So just bear with me. I'm gonna get ready for work, and when I am done, today's story will end. We'll see how far we get. If you aren't caught up, you can catch up if you're interested. I also, I usually put my jewelry on last before I go to work, but I do wear this every day. This is my husband's wedding ring, and so I feel like he's here with me while I tell the story, probably cringing and telling everybody. But anyways, he's always with me. Last week I finished with, after he came home from his vacation to Hawaii with his friend, the girl, which I wasn't happy about. And we decided that we were gonna give the whole relationship thing a try. So that was where last week ended. And so now we're a couple months into this whole boyfriend-girlfriend thing. I was trying to figure it out. One thing that I did learn pretty quick was that his job was really a pain in the ass. He loved what he was doing, but it certainly was not a 9 to 5. My job, I had hours. I'd go in and I would finish. Sometimes I would run a little bit late. Sometimes I would add somebody to the end of my day. But his job, there was no telling. And I was starting to understand why he said that it ruined his parents' marriage. And it ruined his relationship with his mom. He truly believed that she was mad at him for following in his dad's footsteps and going into the same career, working in entertainment. It was unpredictable. Hours were ridiculous. Money was hit and miss. It was just all the things that, made it a questionable choice. But it's what he loved, and that was fine. So I was learning more about the production industry, and I was getting really irritated. There would be times where, and like I said several times, we weren't attached to our cell phones. There wasn't any texting going on like, hey, I'm going to be late. It was just, not showing up or just ridiculous. And I would get mad. And then he would get mad at me for getting mad at him when he was working. And so it wasn't like he was out with his friends or, standing me up because, of some reason. He legit was working. And I needed to kind of understand that, although it was hard. But my mom, she did have some good advice. So if you can imagine, in like her, what's left of her New York Jewish accent, she'd say, so do you want one who doesn't work or isn't ambitious and, doesn't work hard? And I thought, of course, I wanted somebody that was ambitious and works hard, but it was hard. But I was figuring it out. So music videos were kind of like his thing at the time. And he and his partner, Court, who I mentioned, Steve was the best man in that wedding. that I went to with him when we first started dating. They were doing a music video for a band called Queensryche. I had never heard of them. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of them. They were kind of a heavy metal band. Okay, so now I'm like sweating, I think, because I'm nervous. Anyways, they were a heavy metal band in the, this is the mid 80s at this time. And Steve hired me to do their hair on this shoot for this music video. And when I started doing hair, I really thought that I wanted to work for the studios. I was near LA, and I thought it would be fun to work in television or film or something like that, you know, doing hair. And so when I met Steve and he told me that was what he did, I thought, oh my gosh, this is the universe bringing me, you know, a boyfriend and a career opportunity. And so I thought, oh, this is perfect. Anyway, so it was my first music video. I don't know if you can see I am sweating. We arrived at the location. They were shooting down near USC in Los Angeles. And the shoot itself was going to be happening at night, but we got there, you know, the call time was early in the day. It takes a lot of time and effort to, you know, and long hours to pull this thing off. So I didn't have, you know, the internet. I couldn't pull up on my phone or on a computer and look and see who these guys are, this band, and what they look like and what their hair looks like. I had no idea. And one of the guys on the crew actually had a promotional photo of the band that he was able to show me. And I thought, oh my gosh. So there were these guys that had huge hair, big, you know, black hair and full makeup, although I wasn't going to be doing their makeup. I just thought, you know, I hope I brought enough hairspray. Is really what I was thinking. But I was super intimidated and I was really nervous. And so their limo pulls up. There were actually, I think there was 5 of them. And they were from Seattle. So the limo pulls up and these guys get out. And they were like teeny tiny, kind of like skinny, scrawny, no hair, no makeup, just normal looking guys. And I thought, oh my gosh, okay. So I was good from there. They were very nice. And so I did their hair and they started this, the shoot. And actually maybe if I can find the music video, it was called Gonna Get Close to You. Maybe if I find it, I can post it in the comments if anybody wants to see it. I thought it turned out really well. But, so I saw how it worked, and it was a lot of hurry up and wait. I did their hair, and then I would sit and wait and sit and like do nothing. And then maybe hair would be out of place or something, and I would like run over with my comb and hairspray. But it was a very long day, and it was very boring. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to rethink this career because this really isn't very much fun. Although watching Steve was probably the best part. He's just, you know, he was in his element, and I loved watching him work. And that was really, I loved being there and at least seeing that. So he was really trying to build his reel, doing a lot of shoots, trying to get, you know, some good footage and build a reel so that he could get more jobs. And he was doing a lot with his friend Court, where he was like the assistant director, but he really wanted to go into directing. He was doing a lot of producing and directing. Some of these really low budget shoots that he would do it all. He would do, he would produce it, he would direct it, he would edit it, he would be the cameraman. It was a lot, but you know, it was just what he had to do to get where he needed to be. So I learned that the producer is in charge of the money and how it's spent, and the director puts, you know, what you see, the vision of how it's going to look. And he was super creative, and he really loved the directing part of it. In fact, directing live was really his passion, and that we'll get to more later, because that is extremely stressful and very nerve-wracking. But he and his friend Dave had put together a treatment for a television show they had an idea for. Steve had told me that really the best way, and he believed this forever, the best way to really make money in this business was to do your own shows, to you know, produce and direct and put together whatever, to have your own shows. That's where the money was. But to do that, you had to have money to either shoot the pilot or have some, you know, financial backing or something to make it happen. And that was where the problem was. He had so many ideas. So the idea part was not the issue. It was getting the pilot, or, you know, the ideas out there. So he and his friend Dave had this really great idea for a show. They worked really hard to put a treatment together to get it in writing to where they could kind of shop it around. Oh, my mirror went off. It's plugged in. It's like live television. You never know what's going to happen. Anyways, Steve was able to get an appointment with, his name is Rob Weller. At the time, back then, he was the one of the hosts on Entertainment Tonight. So we're going back a long time ago. And he also had a production company called, let me see, Weller, oh, I can't remember. Grossman, I think, Productions. So Steve was really excited, and they got an appointment to meet with him to share their idea. Also, something that he told me was, it's always kind of a risk, because you can't put a patent on an idea. I mean, so if you're going to share your idea, it's out there. But they went in to have their meeting, and Rob really liked the idea. It was, people were able at this time, you know, to buy their own video cameras. You could have your own portable video camera. And so they had an idea that people could send their videos in, their, you know, personal videos or whatever. And it was called Video America. So, like I said, Rob loved the idea so much that he said he was going to share it with his friend Bob Saget. How exciting is that? Well, if this sounds familiar, you know what happened. Steve and Dave are not the actual creators of America's Funniest Home Videos because Rob and Bob Saget ran with it. It's just part of the industry. Kind of stinks, but that's what happens. So I'm done for today. And like I said, if you miss this and it gets deleted, it'll be in YouTube. Have a great day.